We'll be going over Form SSA 1696, Claimant's Appointment of a Representative. So if you're someone that's filing for Social Security benefits, you may choose to have a representative, someone like an attorney or some other person that's experienced in Social Security administration procedures to help you file and claim benefits. So to appoint such a person to represent you, you would complete and sign Form SSA 1696 that would allow this person to represent your interests in front of the Social Security Administration. So we're going to go through this form step by step. You'll notice that this is the top of the form, but it says page 3. The first 2 pages of this are contain some instructions, some additional information, step by step by section. We've recorded a lot of this information in the article. We'll put links in the show notes to our updated guide where you can go through this step by step. Again, a little bit easier to understand in the article format. At least that's what our readers and viewers tell us. So we're going to start here, section 1. There are 8 different sections, and be sure that you're using the most current version of this form. This video, in fact, replaces a video that was using a discontinued version. So there are significant changes. They were pointed out earlier this week by someone that watched the prior video. So thank you for the heads up, and thank you for putting a note in the comments that indicated I needed to update this video. So let's go ahead and start with section 1. The reason for submission and claimant's information. So we're going to appoint a new representative here, but if you're simply updating information on file, there's an option where you can, let's say you just wanted to update something with the representative's affiliation information. You would check this box, and then you would check all the boxes that apply. So if this is the only box that applies, then you would still complete section 2, but you would from section 2 you would skip down to section 5, and then you skip down to the signature information fields. Since we're appointing a new representative, we're going to go through all 8 sections, but this is an option that you have if you're simply updating information for someone that's already designated as your representative. So here we're going to put in the claimant's information. In this case, it's John Doe, first name, middle initial, last name, and then social security number. If there's a social security number, if the claimant is different from the person whose work or earnings history is the basis for your social security claim, the most common example would probably be spousal benefits, where one spouse will claim benefits. They'll enter this information, but it will actually be on their spouse's work history. So you would put the number holder, their social security number, first name, last name, middle initial. So John Doe in this case is the claimant and the number holder. We don't need to put in separate information. But if John was claiming benefits based on his wife's earnings history, then he would put his wife's information down here. So section 2, everyone completes section 2 because this tells the SSA exactly what we're talking about. So representative information, first name, middle initial, last name. And representatives have to have what's known as a representative identification or rep ID. So if your rep is asking you to fill out this form, they're going to put in their rep ID number in here. And then for your information, if your representative doesn't have a representative ID, then they're not going to be allowed to represent you in front of the Social Security Administration until they are registered. So be careful of someone that doesn't have a very clear and distinct answer to this question here. And before you actually sign information on this form, you should make sure that each of these fields is complete. Don't sign blank versions of a form and expect them to fill it in later. In Section 3, this is the claimant's principal representative. Again, this would only be when applicable, and in this case, only if there's more than one representative. So, if John Doe had previously appointed multiple representatives, he could reiterate that this person that he's typing the name in for below is the principal representative, and that's going to be the person that the SSA contacts or sends notices to. So anyone else that was previously named as a principal representative is no longer a principal representative, but they still can be a representative unless you file a separate notice revoking their appointment. So keep that in mind if you're changing representatives. This may replace someone as the principal representative, but if you were trying to fire someone, you need to actually send separate notation to the Social Security Administration saying that they no longer are allowed to represent you. Section 4, your representative will help you with this, but you're claiming whether it's Title II disability benefits or Title 16. Title 16 is SSI. There's Title 18, which is basically Medicare. There's also special veterans benefits. All of these are under the Social Security Act. In my experience, I've heard most firms work on people with disability simply because the qualification for retirement is pretty clear cut. But when it comes to disability benefits or especially SSI, there's a lot of burden of proof against medical standards that not everyone understands. So, that's where a claimant / patient might hire a representative to help obtain the medical documentation that's required to convince the Social Security Administration to grant a certain disability status for whatever the medical condition is. That's a lot of Social Security firms specialize in disability benefits just because there's a lot more complexity there in terms of navigating the Social Security system. So there's a couple of other things your representative should be checking, the ones that apply. Section 5 has 4 parts, and they all have to do with the representative, their status, affiliations, and certifications. So another reason why you should never sign a blank version of this is because this form forces the representative to actually state whether or not he or she is an attorney. And if you're not an attorney, they can still be eligible for direct payment if they're a registered representative. They may also be not eligible for direct payments. So basically, the Social Security Administration has rules in place where they recognize representatives, and if the fee has been approved by the Social Security Administration, then they can pay that representative directly from Social Security benefits once you start receiving them. And there's a cap that applies to the amount of the fee that your representative should be able to collect. So the Social Security Administration approves such fees. You should be made aware of those fees, and you should know that you should not have to write a check to pay those fees. So you're going to know your representative, where they are in terms of whether they're an attorney or not, whether they're eligible for direct payment or not. You're going to know if they've been disbarred or suspended, disqualified, or removed from a practice. All of those things not good. So at the top of each new page, we enter the claimant's Social Security number and the rep's rep ID number. So in Part B of Section 5, we're going to put the representative's affiliation information. So this might be the company that the representative works for. So let's just say that John Doe's representative, Joseph Smith, he happens to be an attorney. He's in good standing, so he doesn't check any of these. But an attorney, he's eligible for direct payment, and then he works for a law firm. There we go. If the entity doesn't have an EIN, then you would check the EIN, no EIN button next to it. Part C is the assignment of a direct pay or authorized fee to an entity. So you would check the assignment box to assign direct payment of your fee out of your benefits. If you previously assigned direct payment to someone else, then if you appoint a new person and you assign your fee to them, you're going to automatically rescind your prior assignment. You can also complete this form to specifically rescind a prior assignment of the representative in Section 2. So you can use this to either assign the direct payment of a fee or to rescind the assignment that was done previously. And then Part D, your representative is going to attest to certain criteria of the appointment. So they're going to understand and agree with all the policy and Social Security rules regarding representation, rules of conduct, standards of responsibility. If they fail to comply, they can be suspended or disqualified from practice before the Social Security Administration. They won't disclose information to unauthorized parties without your specific written consent, which would then make it an authorized party. They're not suspended or disqualified. They're not prohibited from representing the claimant. They accept the appointment as the representative for the claimant named in Section 1 in connection with the claims specifically here in Section 4. So let's just say that we're looking for regular disability benefits. Let's see. The signed copy of this form has a copy of the signed form has the same force and effect as the original. And then under penalty of perjury, they've examined everything and everything is true and correct to the best of their knowledge. So then they would enter their initials. And finally, we're on the last page. And we're going to talk a little bit about the fee arrangement. So the Social Security Administration allows a certain ceiling. I believe the ceiling is 25% of withheld benefits not to exceed a certain dollar value. That dollar value at the time of this recording, I believe, is $9,200. So as the claimant, that should be the most that you ever pay someone to represent you. And again, this is for benefits that you may not have collected had you not hired the representative to do this, because they're kind of helping you navigate the system. They're making sure that you provide the correct documentation so that you qualify for these benefits. So the representative can check one of these boxes. Either they can request a fee and direct payment. They can request a fee but not necessarily direct payment. The Social Security Administration still needs to authorize the fee, whether it's direct payment or not direct payment. If they waive the fee, then the Social Security Administration doesn't need to authorize anything. So a representative could be working for, a government entity or a nonprofit, and they could say, you know what, someone else pays my fee, but this person isn't going to pay me a dime. They would check this box. Or they might just say, I waive the right to a fee. I'm doing this pro bono, and select this. Now, if you have other claimants that happen to be under the same benefits, but they have not appointed their own representative, for example, a spouse and maybe a child, then you can put up to 4 different claimants, their Social Security number and their name in here. So let's just say John Doe is doing this, and he's also going to put his wife Elizabeth and maybe his son. So, and then at the bottom, you're going to have the representative signature and date, and then the claimant's signature and date. So both people must sign this form if there's any update to sections 4, 6, or 7. The representative must sign the form if they're updating the section 5 information, and a claimant must sign the form if they're uploading the information in section 3. So it kind of tells you under which conditions people might be making updates. So that's all there is for this form. It is significantly different from the previous version, so we're going to make sure that we put links to this video from any other versions of this video that are floating out there. We're also going to put links in the show notes to the article where you can read this step by step if you want to slow down the process. So if you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. We'll put a link in the show notes on how to do that. And if you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, if you have any comments, questions, or if there's something that you'd like to see in an upcoming video, or if there's a form that you find that needs to be updated in an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.